Hey, hi friends, welcome to today's video. So in this video we are going to build the setting screen. So let me show you how this will look. So our home page will have a setting icon. On click of it, it will navigate to the setting page. So currently we don't have much in the setting. Let's say that what more we can add in the future. So currently we just have one option, that is to change the language. So right now if you see in the last video, to change the language I have to delete the app because the user was not having any option to change the language from the app. So in this the user can choose the settings page, and then here you can come on the screen. Right now we are just supporting two languages, that is English and Hindi, so you can choose any of it, and then the language of the app will change accordingly. So let's start and build this screen. Okay, so what we will do first, we'll go to our home view. Okay, now here if you see right now in the home view we have this text, so I'm just going to remove all this thing which I don't need at this point of time. So I'm going to remove this all the links that I have taken. Okay, now here what I can do, I can take a navigation title, because if you see the screen we have a title here. Okay, so navigation title, and this we should have text, that is Bhagavad Gita, and that is here. Okay, this can be placed here. Okay, next is that we have to put this icon. Okay, now this is a navigation bar button, right? So to do that in the swiftUI, what we can do, we can use a toolbar. Let's keep it simple, remove all this thing. Okay, and this button is on the right hand side. Okay, so the item that we are going to choose here, that is tool bar item. See, we have a something called placement here. Okay, so placement, what we can say, that this is on the trailing on the right hand side, so dot and then navigation bar trailing. Okay, and then we have the content. So again let's remove this thing, keep it simple. Okay, so now I have this view which is on the top right side, and now we have to take a button, right? Let's take a button here. So now on click of this, where we want to move, we want to move to setting page, right? So right now if you see, we have in the home nav we have details. Now we don't need details, that was just for the demo purpose that day, so we'll change this to settings. Okay, similarly here also this will become settings, and here what we have to do, app state dot home navigation dot append. Okay, and this is dot setting. Now see, this append is similar to what we were doing in the navigation controller push. So if you remember, in navigation controller we used to write a push view controller and pop view controller. So here by default we don't have push and pop, so this append gives us the similar functionality. Like we have this let me go here. So this we discussed that day, that this acts like your navigation controller view controller array. So inside navigation controller we used to have a view controllers which used to be the array of view controller, right? And then we used to push and pop. So this behaves in the same manner here. Okay, and label is simple, going to be a image, and we can take system image here, which is a gear. I think that's all we need for our settings button to appear. Okay, so let's run the app and see how this screen looks like. So you can see that it's showing the title. Right now the app language is set to Hindi, so that's the reason you see this in Hindi. And then we have the icon here. On the click of that, it is going to the detail page. Okay, now let's now create a system view, right? Okay, that it will navigate to settings page. Okay, and then now let's come here and start working on our settings page. Now if you see the screen here, so we have title, then we have something like a section which is showing a language, and then we have this box on the click of that which will go to the new page, right? So as we have to deal with the language thing, so let's take first environment variable for our language setting, because here this text will be either English or Hindi depending on what is the current language of the app, right? So what we can do is environment, and then okay, now let's remove this, and this we can take a V stack, and first thing we have to do is to create this particular view, right? So this is simple, looks like a h stack. We have to give the color to h stack and maybe the height if you want to fix the height, and then inside that we have a text, and then we can take a spacer to accommodate the rest remaining space, right? So inside the h stack we can take text, and let okay, so now I have taken all the strings that we are going to use. So first thing is settings title. Okay, so come here and put this in the text. Okay, and then give some padding to it, and then a spacer for the remaining space. That's what we are talking about. And then we need to set this frame height, say 40, and then a background color to it. Okay, so color dot custom color dot, we have only one color, so we have to add one more color here. So let's go back to the page here and change it to secondary orange color. Okay, so this part is ready, and obviously after at the end of everything, let's say that we'll have a spacer to occupy the remaining space. Okay, let it run and see how this part looks like right now. So it's not able to find settings view any reason. Okay, the error has gone. Any okay, I missed the colon here. Okay, let's run it again. So now you can see that we are able to see this view, but one issue that I'm seeing here is that it is going throughout this the whole view. Okay, so what we can do that, let's first set a navigation title and see how that thing look like. Okay, so what I can do is the first thing is that I did some mistake here. So this is language. Okay, so this is not settings title. So this should be the settings language, right? This one, because that's what we have to show here. So this is language, and we have to set the settings title in the V stack, like on the top of this as a navigation title. So and now set the navigation bar title, and the title text will be this, and then the display mode is going to be inline. Okay, now let's run it one more time and see if we see this time in a proper way. Till this part is going on the top, so what I'm going to do is that on this H stack I'm going to set a padding to the vertical. Okay, and see, let it run again. And this time if you see that this is coming only in this section, which is the desired that we wanted. Okay, now we have to add this particular view, which is basically a button. On the click of that we'll go to the next screen. Okay, so here after this thing we have to add a button. Now now on the action we need to go to a new screen, right? So what we can do is that we can go to our uh, home view, and here in the home nav destination we can have one more section here, right? And this we can call it as a language selection. Okay, so this is specifically for selecting the language of the app. Now this will give you error because we have to go to the new page. So what I'm going to do is that here let's create a new file. Okay, and the same thing can be written here. Now if you see that all the navigation is managed from your root class, that is your home view. And then let's go to setting page. So from here what we need to do, we need to access the app state. So here we can write environment object app state apps, and then on the button action app state dot home navigation dot append, and this is dot language selection, right? Now our button is ready. Now let's work on the view, this view what we are seeing here. So this again we can take as a horizontal stack. We can give some border to the horizontal stack, and then this will be a text, then a spacer, and then an image, right? So now here this text will be based on your language setting, right? So what we can write, that language setting dot, now currently we don't have like any current selected language in the app setting, so let's go and change our language setting a little bit. Okay, so what we can do here is, first let's define a variable here called current selected language. Okay, which will be of type supported language, because this is the enum that we created which supports only two languages, like either it can be English or it can be Hindi. Now the default value is English. Okay, now why I have taken this as a property wrapper kind of thing, because I need to call some method here. So that we'll see in a minute. Okay, so inside that I'm going to write a did set, and this we're going to use in a minute. Okay, so let's first use this condition. So dot current selected language is equals to dot English. Okay, so if it is English, then we have to set the English one, otherwise we have to set the Hindi one, right? Now let's go back here, and we should have English and Hindi text, which is here. So if it is English, then onboarding English, otherwise it should be Hindi. But right now when I run the app, it will show you English. Even my the app is in Hindi, because the current selected language values we are setting it as English and we are not changing it, right? So let's now go here, and here we can write this as dot Hindi, and similarly we can write here dot English. Okay, so now we have a current selected language variable in our code, which we can access it, right? Anything which mode we can verify. So this, now we can change it because we don't want to see this content. I think we can directly set the selected language as app setting, oh sorry, language setting dot current selected language. Okay, now let's come back to our view that we were working on, and yeah, this one. Okay, so now this should work. So when I run this right now, this should show me the Hindi text. Okay, but before that, let's complete this view. So if you remember, we had this spacer and image also. So let's take a spacer after this. We can set some padding to this, and a spacer after this, and then an image. Okay, image again, I'm going to take a system image, which is chevron right, and then dot padding. Okay, and yeah, I think that's all we required here, nothing more. So let's run the app. So now if you go here, so we are seeing Hindi, that's right, that because the current language selection is Hindi, and our app is also in Hindi, so that's the reason that it's showing in Hindi. Okay, now on the click of that, we are going to the setting page. Okay, that is language setting page. So let's now go and build our language setting page. Okay, so this one. So let's do the same thing here also, is come back to our setting view, and we will require these two variable here also. So let's copy and paste it. Okay, now if you see this icon here, we have to now show this text always in their language, no disregard of whatever the current language is. Let's say that if the language of the app in the screenshot is English, then also I'm showing this as a Hindi, because that's how the user will understand. If this, let's say that the user doesn't know that language at all, at least he can see that text here. And then we have this button, and on the click of this button I will change the app language. So instead of directly modifying my environment object, what I'll prefer to do here is that I'll create a state variable, a local state variable here, and again state as a private, and this will be my I'll call it as, let's say, selected language, okay, which is going to be of type supported language, and the value is English. Okay, now let's remove this and take a v stack, and on the appear of it what we can do, we can set our selected language to whatever the language that is there in our language setting. So language setting dot current selected language. Okay, this looks fine. Now we have to show all the list of language here, right? Similar to what we saw in our screenshot. Now, and this language is a part of supported language. Here what we can do, we can put some default text to this, because in this case when we are going to use it, I don't want it to read from the localization, because if I read from my localization, then it will always going to read what is the current local value. So what I'm going to do is that let's put English for English and Hindi for Hindi. Okay, and then we have to iterate into this array. Now if we want to iterate into enum, we have to conform to case iterable protocol, right? Now our enum part is done. Now what we have to do is that we have to iterate here. So and on the action of it, what I have to change, I have to just change my selected language. I'm not going to directly change the language of the whole app. So just the selected language will be changed. Okay, now selected language will be changed to this particular language which we are going to receive for each particular item, because that's what the enum value is. Okay, now in the label part, let's see again the text, how we are going to do. So this is again simple h stack with a text, then the spacer, and then image. Okay, so h stack. And then we have image, but this image, let me show it again, is for the, we have to show for the selected one. Okay, so we can put a condition here that if the language is equals to our selected language, then only we have to show the image. Okay, so image. Okay, so that's all for our v stack. I think one thing what we require is a button now. So our top, this part is done, whatever has to come here. Now we have to design our save changes thing. That means the moment this h stack ends, what we have to take, we have to take a spacer, okay, to occupy all the remaining space, and then again a button. So button, and on the action of this, what we have to do, we have to set the language in the language setting. So that means language setting dot local, and we have to pass a language, and what will be the language value, it will be the selected language, right? That's all. And then in the label we're going to have the text, all will make our button ready. And I also want to move back to the previous screen once the user click on it. So to move back, navigation controller we used to do push pop. So here what we can do, we can simply write app state dot home navigation dot remove last. So remove last is same as navigation controller dot pop. Okay, and let me just put the text, which is the final part, and the text here is this one. Okay, now let me run the app. So if I go to now setting, okay, so I think I misplaced this button. So this button and this spacer has to be outside of this H stack. So this H stack, okay, yeah, this button. So here is this for loop ending, and after this we can have this thing. Okay, let me run the app again, and here Hindi, I'll select this time English, and then save it. Now you can see that that whole app got changed to English. Okay, and this is also showing English. Now Hindi, again if I select Hindi, click on save changes, all thing got changed to Hindi. Okay, I think one thing what I'm missing here is the title of this page. Okay, so let's put that also. Okay, now let's run the app again. And this time I'm seeing the title also. Let's select English, save it, and everything got changed to English. Okay, so that's all about this video where we build our setting screen. In the next video we'll first write our generic network layer, and then after that we'll start integrating the API calls to show data in our app. Okay, so if you have not subscribed the channel, then please do subscribe, and if you really like watching this video, then please do like, comment, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Thank you.